This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a sore respect, DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win. Because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
All right, that was. I did my job. Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. And that's exactly what we did here. And what I feel is gratitude to work alongside phenomenal public servants who do that each and every day in matters that you all write about, make the press, and in lots of matters that you don't. I did my job. We did our job. Many voices out there. The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, And it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now.
Former President Donald Trump has been convicted in his New York criminal hush money trial. Hello, and thanks for joining us live at 5 right now. I'm Trish Keene.
And I'm Abel Garcia. Right now, we begin with Scripps News political correspondent Joe St. George from the courthouse.
Former President Donald Trump has been convicted on 34 counts in the New York criminal hush money trial.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a sole respect, DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
Jury deliberating for more than 11 hours, finding Trump falsified business records surrounding a $130,000 hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. During deliberations, jurors asked for the judge's instructions to be reread, as well as several sections of witness testimony. A monumental task for the 7 men and 5 women on the jury. The first time in American history a jury has ever had to decide whether a former president and presumptive party nominee is guilty of a crime. There's been swift reaction here outside the courthouse, where Trump supporters have been staging throughout the trial, and it was a grueling one, taking place over 20 days with nearly 24 witnesses, including Trump's former employees and confidants. Trump did not take the stand. The prosecution alleged that Trump tried to buy Daniels' silence about their alleged affair and reimburse his then lawyer Michael Cohen, who fronted the money. They argued that Trump intentionally falsified documents relating to the payment to hide damaging news from voters during the 2016 presidential election. Trump pleaded not guilty and has denied having an affair with Stormy Daniels. Joe St. George, Scripps News, New York.
The Biden-Harris campaign responding, saying, quote, there is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president.
Wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. What's up, family? Welcome to another edition of Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream in the cosmos of YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Of course, we're trying to move quickly away from Rumble. I'm from YouTube, so I actually have the link in the comment section for where you can go to Rumble to watch me, ladies and gentlemen. We are live there as well. And you love this channel, if you love the show, then I ask you all to come in and join and follow me on Rumble. But if you are watching on Facebook, or especially also on X, because I have a large following on X, on Twitter, although it's been slowly growing, not as fast as I want, but people have been watching it. And people actually, a lot of people are on X right now watching me. So shout out to you, family. We are live. And I'm coming at you with 5, as always. It's Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream in the cosmos of social media. And there's only one thing we're going to be talking about really tonight, because it is the #1 news story in America right now. I'm getting some text messages too from some people, including the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, who texted me. He says it's an embarrassing moment. Let me read the text message to y'all. I'm going to read it in his voice. He says, quote, "It is an embarrassing moment in U.S. history. These sissified punks didn't know a damn thing about the law, and they gone ahead and sentence my damn president while they got that goddamn gone credent Joe Biden in the White House. Oh, Dana. Everybody asked me to do Judge Joe Brown, so I just did it, but that's how he would say it. So, as you all know, the Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty on 34 counts of felony fraud. This would typically be a misdemeanor, but what got it to a felony was that they believed that Trump used this to win the 2020 election with the hush money that he supposedly paid Stormy Daniels with. And also, I guess we can't say alleged anymore because he's been convicted, but I don't know too much of the facts, so I just usually say alleged. But supposedly he paid Stormy Daniels, used business documents, or filed public records documents like his tax filings, as well as his state income tax and other LLC documents of the payments to his lawyer, Michael Cohen, who testified against him. Trump did not take the witness stand. His defense counsel, Todd Blanche, who is supposed to be on CNN, I think right now, has actually did make a motion after the verdict was read for judgment notwithstanding the verdict, and otherwise asking for, well, really an acquittal notwithstanding the verdict. Basically what you're saying is that the judgment was so contrary to the law and facts of the case, to the law and evidence that was presented to the court. But sentencing is supposed to be on June 11th, which is actually a few days before the Republicans select their they have their convention and select Donald Trump as their nominee. Now, that is going to be interesting. What you're going to see happen. Now, I've been playing on that day when they select him that they will be selecting a convicted felon. And that's something everybody's going to be using to play to their advantage. It's something the Democrats will use to play to their advantage. But tonight, what we're going to be asking is, do you think it's going to be a disadvantage? Do you actually think it's going to backfire? And actually, I'm going to put that in the polls for you all tonight. If you go to the YouTube channel, I actually have a poll up right now in our live. I'm going to be asking you all, do you all think Donald Trump actually will be, forget whether he's going to go to, I know he's not going to actually spend time in jail. Mostly what's going to happen, he's going to be hit with a big fine, maybe possibly house arrest, with the exception of some business stuff he could do, or better yet, no, house arrest, except for with some exceptions, and paying a large fine and cost. Then on top of that, I don't see Donald Trump. Y'all honestly think Donald Trump is going to spend time in jail, in prison for 4 years, 5 years? That ain't going to happen. So the question for you all today that I want to ask is, do you honestly think, here's the actual question, do you really believe Donald Trump or rather, do you think the conviction will hurt Donald Trump's election 2024 chances? Give me a yes. I say yes or no. And I have that poll on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, if you go there. So we're going to bring in our brother and friend. He's been waiting patiently, and he's up in the Boogie Down Bronx, Mr. Shawn James. Shawn, what's going on?
Nothing much, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing fine on this Thursday. It's a very rainy Thursday where I am. I'm sure the skies are sunny where you are after today. Shawn, you and I have talked extensively about Donald Trump in the last, I mean, he hasn't been out of the news, not even when he left office. That's the number one trending. He's the number one go-to man in the media. So, Shawn, what you obviously saw today, you're up in New York. You saw what happened. The Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg. I played a clip from his press conference. I don't know if you probably did see it today if you were watching the news.
I saw it.
And well, let me play it again just for anybody who probably has not seen it. It's not a long clip. It's like 35 seconds that I just have here. So I want y'all to just look.
I did my job.
So
Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. And
All
that's exactly
right,
what I
nothing
feel is gratitude to
froze.
work alongside phenomenal public servants who do that each and every day in matters that you all write about, make the press, and in lots of matters that you don't. I did my job. We did our job.
Fair
Many
use,
voices
by
out
the way.
there. The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
So they say the jury has spoken. And this was a statement released by the Biden-Harris campaign. They said there's still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president. Correct. And keep in mind, this is not going to take him off the ballot just by being a convicted felon. Remember what happened when he ran for president against Hillary Clinton, and he surprised everybody by winning. Everybody didn't think it could be done, but he beats Hillary Clinton in the election, and people were shocked by that. But Trump had the support of 55% of white females. In his reelection bid, he actually got 20% of the black vote. They tried to blame black men for Trump getting elected, but no, white women went and voted. People didn't take the vote for granted. You didn't have a good candidate, Democrats. And so now it looks like, I guess to some people, that this is an attempt to keep Trump off the ballot. Shawn, I'll let you talk. We just played what Alvin Bragg said, and we're going to go ahead and get your thoughts. What did you think of his press conference? And also, what do you think of the conviction?
Well, the conviction and the press conference were both a farce. And this whole thing was about trying to two things. One, it was designed to try to scare Donald Trump into not wanting to run for president. But when he decided to continue to run, this was designed to try to discredit him and try to make it where he was make him look like a less credible candidate. And basically, that's what Alvin Bragg was trying to do with this case of misdemeanors, trying to turn it into felonies, basically looking to try to pile it up into something that would basically get people in their emotions as regarded to their vote. And I believe this whole campaign is going to backfire and backfire spectacularly, especially when it comes to Americans. Now, Americans really love their bad boys. And with Donald Trump, he basically is a rich bad boy. And that makes him even more attractive to white women and most of these other women in the country, and even some of the men. Because in the case of a guy like Donald Trump, when you see a prosecutor coming after him with this kind of case, it basically makes it where if you do convict him, what you do is make him even more sympathetic to those women, and it makes him more attractive to men who identify with bad boys. So what the Blue Party has done is strengthen Donald Trump's position with this conviction. Now they're thinking, oh, they may have done some damage to him with this conviction, which is basically empty and symbolic. But the whole thing is this empty symbolic conviction basically makes it where Donald Trump is even stronger, because when it comes to the bad boy or the rebel, the more you attack him, the more stronger he becomes and the more attractive he is, because it looks like you're basically attacking him because you just don't like him based on feelings. And that's what's being done here with Donald Trump. The more the Blue Party attacks him, the stronger they make him. And what the big problem with the Blue Party is, even though you attack Donald Trump, you don't show us what you have to offer to Americans who are suffering in an economy where inflation is out of control due to their policies of giving out all of this money with the American American Rescue Plan, and the taxes that they basically have messed up, where people are now having to report $600 cash out payments. I mean, they have basically made life just that much harder for the average everyday American who is now barely living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not seeing their money going as far, and they're not bringing anything to offer to the people, and they're not bringing anything to the table that looks better than the Trump presidency, because life in Biden's America is just a bunch of chaos with crime in the streets people just running wild and prices through the roof. You can't even afford to pay for rent or housing or anything like that. But you're out here talking about something that happened in 2016 with some sort of Stormy Daniels, again, digging in the garbage as related to an election that's already done instead of taking care of the needs of the American people right now. And that's the real problem with Joe Biden's campaign. He's out here, got his bootlicks out here like Alvin Bragg going after this case, not understanding that you're making Trump stronger as related to his arguments, because he's making arguments and going directly to the people. And you're sitting there talking about how everything is good when most Americans don't see anything good at all. So this basically makes it where everybody looks at Joe Biden with a side eye. And it basically creates a very dangerous legal precedent for we, the people, because if they could come after Donald Trump on such a trivial case, imagine what the Biden presidency would do to dissenters and those who would criticize them in a second term of the Biden presidency. That's the other thing people aren't really thinking about as related to this conviction. This farce of a trial, this farce of a trial turns our criminal justice system into a standard even worse than trust and believe, because anyone who disagrees with the Biden administration on their distorted picture of reality could wind up being railroaded into a kangaroo court. And that's the scariest thing about this whole Trump situation. Yes, I don't like Donald Trump, but I don't like it when people get railroaded by bootlicking prosecutors. Again, that's a very dangerous precedent as related to our law. It means that anybody who would go out here and be a dissenter, starting with Donald Trump, can go right straight to we the people. And this country's in a bad place as related to its government and its courts based on this really bad verdict, based on a bunch of really bad charges. And it really, ironically, goes back to our Constitution and everything that it stood for. Basically, that was compromised with this farce of a trial.
Yeah. So what do you think now? Okay, so now that the trial's over, someone asked me, can he appeal? Well, I'm going to ask Shawn a question first. Shawn, do you see Donald Trump going to jail?
No, I don't see him going to jail, because if he went to jail, Democrats would definitely lose at that point because they would turn him into a martyr. If they put him into jail, they know that they would make him a martyr 4 days before the Republican convention. If you sentence this man to jail, you basically turn this country upside down, and people will start to look at the blue party as really the enemy. It would be the worst move you could possibly make. It would basically divide the country and put us on the brink of a road to civil war.
That's the same thing I was thinking. We're headed to civil war if they actually put Donald Trump in prison. I don't see that happening. I think at best he's going to probably get probation or house arrest. If he were put in prison, I was talking about that with Judge Joe today. He said that there'll probably be riots
Yeah.
in the city if they put that in. I honestly think I was just seeing something Dr. Boyce Watkins tweeted. He actually said, quote, Joe Biden just lost the election today.
He lost it 6 months ago.
He said Biden just lost the election today. Said he lost it 6 months ago. What happened 6 months ago?
Well, a couple months ago, he basically showed how disconnected and detached he was as related to the people suffering with the economy. And many of these Biden policies they just don't really, he doesn't hear people. That's a big problem. People in his administration are just completely detached. They don't live in reality. They don't see the struggles that real people are going through. And that's the big problem I saw with Joe Biden 6 months ago. I even saw it a year ago. He has his staff posting these really stupid tweets on Twitter that really don't show that they are listening to the people. And his policies are just absolutely insane. I mean, if we look at the whole migrant situation, that alone would cost him in the election right there. I mean, the complete mishandling of the migrant situation. And he basically, and only an idiot would vote for Joe Biden because he's bringing nothing to offer to anyone.
Well, I think, let me say this too, Shawn. I feel that whether you like Donald Trump or not, and a lot of people don't like Trump, I, as an attorney, don't also like it when our justice system gets abused for political and social purposes, in that you trying to use it to push some type of agenda. Instead of using it about justice and facts and evidence, we're using it based off I don't like this person. I hate this man. It's not a matter of whether I believe Donald Trump is a good guy or not. I don't. But whether I think he factually did something wrong. Let's just say this too, Shawn. If you're a businessman, you're a businessman. Most people, when they fill out their taxes, they always going to try and look. Everybody tries to look for a break so they don't have to end up paying more taxes. You put stuff under miscellaneous. People will actually put the grooming supply, whether I use grooming, whether you use clothes, we buy clothes, you use grooming, under miscellaneous. People do stuff like that. Food and entertainment, those things happen. People will do that. His conversations with his attorney, here's another thing. There's another issue with that because Michael Cohen testified. I don't know if they did this, but if there was what I like to call attorney-client privilege that came in, I think that might factor in as well. So someone asked me, can he appeal it? Yes, he is likely to appeal. That's why his attorney was making objections for the record and made that motion notwithstanding a verdict. Someone said, so asked ADK Vita said, so as an attorney, you think you should be allowed to pay off your side piece and then gross it up and declare the repayment as income to your lawyer? That is called tax fraud. What I'm saying to you at ADK Vita is that when you have a business, most people, and this happens all across the country, they use their businesses, especially if they pay expenses. You try to pay less taxes as they can. People can do that, and they often do that by finding loopholes. That's not uncommon. This typically would not go to trial, but because it is Donald Trump, because it had something to do with the election, because there is a 2024 election that's coming forward, is the point I'm saying. There are politics at play with this. And if you don't believe that, you're a fool. That's the point I'm saying, ADK Vita. If you don't believe, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is a good guy. I'm not saying that Donald Trump hasn't done some stuff that he shouldn't have, but it's a way to keep him from running in 2024. That's what this case to me is about. And a lot of people even say that. When the verdict was read out loud, I had people telling me, I could hear my folks cheering in the back. Yeah, they got him. He going in that cell. He can't run. He can't be president. I didn't say fraud. I said, did I say fraud, Shawn?
No.
What the fuck? What the hell are you listening to? Did I say you could perpetrate fraud? No. I'm an attorney. I know what I'm saying. I said you can use. I'm saying as a business owner, you do write-offs all the time, don't you?
Every business owner uses a write-off.
Right.
Business
That's
expense.
what I'm saying. Right. That is what I'm saying. Yes, the jury, they didn't feel it counted as that because he had Stormy Daniels, the hush money, the payment. It was tied to the election. That's the point. Okay. What the hell are you saying? I'm not going to try and lower what my words are. Try and be as simple as I can so you can understand it. Nobody in here has defended a crime. Listen carefully to what I'm saying, ma'am, sir. I don't know. Your side piece is Neve and expense. If you have a side piece, do you understand what I'm saying? Everybody out there knows what I'm saying. You understand what I'm talking about, Shawn? What we're talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
This is politics. That's the point of all of this. And he might and very well could get this overturned over an appeal. I can't write off flowers to my wife. All right. I'm just going to ignore him because
He's talking on emotion.
he's talking on, well, forget it. If he's, I don't know if he's talking off of what the hell he's talking about. You don't understand. People are not understanding what I'm saying. So I'm just going to move on. We're going to talk logic and intellect with people. So the point I'm saying with this tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that you've convicted. Okay, now that Trump's been convicted, let me just ask you something. What's happening now? What's going to happen? You still paying your rent? You still got to pay your rent. You still got to deal with November with the election. He's not going to be removed as nominee for president. You talking like a, I wish I could see you. You don't have an avatar. You talking like a, dude, I actually got a JD. Nobody gives a shit. Okay, I don't give a shit. I got a license. You got a JD. I got a license. I practice law. A JD is a Juris Doctorate. So do I. But do you have a bar license? See, I practice law here in the state of Louisiana. That's not my point as to whether Donald Trump committed a crime or not. My point is that politics played an issue with this, and there may be very well some appeal, and there could be some appealable issues that he has. Another argument he might actually be able to make, he could appeal this, and likely he could have, it would probably went on an appeal, because think about this, Judge Alito has already said if the case went up to the Supreme Court, he's not going to recuse himself, because I think there was an issue with him and his wife. I've passed the bar. Now you're saying I have a license to lie? What does that say about you? What type of law you practice? He got his license on Facebook. I'm not even worried about this clown. Yes, extortion is another. If there is extortion, well, extortion, here's the thing about that. You remember what happened? Usually extortion can be a federal offense, because if you remember what happened with Bill Cosby back in the 90s with that girl who alleged that that was his father. Actually, Cornett. I guess I guess a dickhead would know who a moron is. How you like that? You got to. You ain't got any pictures of yourself on here because you're ugly. I know that much. You want to go back and forth with me on this stuff? I've been practicing law for 10 freaking years. So I know I also have a political science degree. Don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Right now, you're trolling. This is emotions. This is what I'm talking about. No, I want y'all to see this. So I want you to see everything this fool's commented. CNN even reported it, dummy. They talked about it yesterday. I watched it myself. He's not recusing himself. He's not recusing himself from Supreme Court cases. Anything related to January 6th, he's not recusing himself. Anything related with that. What and how would he recuse himself from something? He's not recusing himself. So how would he can't even, first off, if someone wants to judge recuses them can only recuse themselves if or should to avoid the appearance of impropriety. So anything related with January 6th, with that flag that was hanging up, I think, by his wife's island or whatever that was, he cannot. He said he's not recusing himself. And he has nothing to recuse himself on. If it goes to the Supreme Court, what do you think would even happen? Okay, even if I mixed up what I said, even if I mixed up what I was saying and talking about the topic, what do you think, Shawn, is going to happen if Trump appeals this to the Supreme Court?
It's going to get acquitted.
Right. Just like with Richard Nixon. Remember what happened with Richard Nixon and Watergate? He resigns, and what happened? What did Gerald Ford do the next day?
He pardoned him.
He pardoned him. He didn't go to jail. He didn't go to prison. That's the point. Politics. People do something. What the power does what it wants. There's politics involved in all of this. And someone said, can he appeal it? Yeah, he can likely appeal the case. You can appeal. You're entitled to a review, basically to a right to an appeal in any felony case. So he can appeal that. But this is the point I'm talking about. This is emotions. What you're seeing here, this is one of my followers. This is somebody on Rumble. These are emotions that are going around. This is emotional talk. This is a guy probably who's tied, who donates to the Democratic Party every election season. Might even be a chair. Who knows? Hit the road, Jack. Nobody cares you checked out. Shawn, go ahead. What you got? Something you want to say?
Well, this whole case is one big farce, and it's really dividing the country even more.
Right.
And it's making things worse for the Democrats because we're looking at their record, and it's clear that they can't run on their record because the economy is so bad. Things are not as good as Joe Biden is making them out to be. And the attack on Donald Trump just makes it even worse for them because it's like you're attacking the candidate because you have no way to stand on your own arguments.
Yeah. You think Neil Gorsuch is going to step down from the hearing a Trump appeal?
Doubt it.
You think Clarence Thomas going to step down?
Nope. They ain't going nowhere.
Alito's not going anywhere. No, Alito's not going anywhere. Gorsuch's not going anywhere. Roberts not going anywhere. Trump stacked the one thing you can say about him when he wanted to put I don't care for him, but I mean, look, when he came in office, you saw he was doing everything he wanted to do.
Yep.
He didn't ham and haw.
He took advantage of the situation. And the thing is, Democrats gave it to him with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's stubbornness and unwillingness to step down.
Right. That's emotion. Yeah, but So at any rate, you see that's emotions that was talking.
Yeah.
And I would like to have obviously a judge come on. Maybe we can have Judge Joe come on one day and talk about this because he can go and give great insight. I know he's on doing his show tonight, but yeah, no, this is not me defending fraud. I'm saying this stuff would never happen. Listen carefully what I'm saying, right? Under normal circumstances, a case like this would never go to trial. Is the point that I'm making. That's what I'm saying. There's politics obviously involved with this, and it's actually going to make, if you want Donald Trump in office, this was out of office. This one was not the way to do it, is the point I'm saying.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of a father going after the bad boyfriend by beating him up. It makes him even more attractive to the girl who you're trying to keep her away from him.
Right. It's like exactly. It's like the rebellious kid the rebellious biker boy who's in love with the daughter, and the father tells him to stay away, and he beats him up. The daughter goes and runs to him. Yeah, like Kelly Bundy used to do with her boyfriends when she would bring him to the house, even though Al Bundy beat him up. Guess what? She was still bringing him over to the house, and Al Bundy had to beat him up again. Remember?
Yep.
So yeah, it doesn't change.
It makes them even more attractive, and then the girls escalate because they're getting more attention, and they go and marry the guy. So
Yeah.
it's like you have just made things worse for yourself. Had you not paid this guy any attention, you might have actually won. Excuse me, if you had just talked to the American people, which is what Joe Biden and his Blue Party friends don't seem to want to do. They don't want to sit down and talk to people about the actual problems they're having. They want to arrogantly believe that they know better than them. And that whole condescending approach is why Hillary lost in 2016. And it's why the Democrats might possibly lose in 2024, because you refuse to sit and talk to people about their problems. You refuse to acknowledge, hey, these minimum wage raises basically are driving people out of their jobs and making it where it's harder because things cost more, and that your whole approach just isn't working. And instead of saying, hey, my approach to life doesn't work, and we're going to do something different, what they do is double down on more of the same, thinking that they're right, just like people say about social justice warriors. And the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. And that's what the Blue Party is doing with the American people, doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result, instead of saying, hey, maybe we need to go and try a different approach, one that will help people be able to cover their bills and to be able to take care of themselves. Maybe we need to listen to people and ask them what they want in their own country, because the Constitution says we the people. Maybe we need to be listening to people instead of trying to talk at them and talk down to them, which is what the whole Biden administration does. I mean, this is one of the problems that the Biden administration has. The Trump presidency doesn't. I mean, Donald Trump, I don't like the guy at all, but at least he does talk to people. He does go visit people, like the officer who was murdered here in New York. I mean, he listens to people. And this is a big problem with Joe Biden and his people. They want to think that they know better than us, and they don't want to listen to us or listen to our issues.
Yeah. 80K Vita keeps commenting. He just said, gee, we shouldn't convict crooks if it makes them mad. Did you know the original Teflon Don also died in jail? Said, no, I didn't know that. Did you know that Trident was recommended by 4 out of 5 dentists? I mean, who cares? He said he's checking out. I'm a space cadet. Well, adios, stupido. Who thinks I'm a kook? I'm just running my mouth. So, yeah, I think so there's more reaction to it. A lot of people are celebrating this too as a win or victory. I think it does neither, in the sense that is Donald Trump being convicted of a series of crimes. Is this going to stop him from running? No. This actually might. Do you think New York? Let me ask you this, Shawn. Do you think New York would actually go red?
Possibly. I mean, the way it's been running straight into the ground by these Blue Party idiots, I mean, it may go red because we are looking at people are barely able to make a living around here. I mean, you got these blue zealots, but the whole thing is people are just fed up with the whole state of the city's economy and the crime and everything being out of control, and just people caught up in their ideals and just cannot see real people.
Yeah. That would be a shock if that happened. Don't you think? New York hasn't turned red, since Reagan?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a shock if that happened. And a lot of people, and like I said, Donald Trump is not going to spend he's not likely to spend time in jail in prison due to the fact that he's a former United States president. They're required to have security. Remember the supremacy clause. Federal law trumps state law. Always.
Yep.
How you going to get the Secret Service in jail? In prison. So the first time in the United States history, 250 years in the history of this country, you have a former president that's been convicted of 34 felonies. And you think that's going to help you win the election. That's the point that I'm making. Yes, Donald Trump very well could be guilty of, and likely is guilty of, doing some of the things that he's been alleged doing. But let's also look at the fact they had Michael Cohen testify on the witness stand. Michael Cohen is the former attorney for Donald Trump who helped facilitate this. He spent time in jail and he was convicted for perjury charges, right? So what Trump's lawyer made in the argument, he made a motion, like I said, notwithstanding the verdict, which is basically a motion for an acquittal, basically saying that the evidence and the facts and evidence, the evidence was contrary to the verdict. So he has preserved, or is trying to preserve, his grounds for an appeal, but that an appellate court could review it and overturn the case, which does take time. But given the fact there's an election going on, this may happen sooner than later. It's likely going to happen sooner than later. You might have an answer, right? Remember what happened in November 2000 when they gave Florida to George Bush, but we know Al Gore really won Florida by all accounts, right?
Yep.
And who was the governor of Florida? Jeb Bush. The Secretary of State was the campaign manager for George W. Bush in that election. She certified the votes to him. They took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court overturned Gore's they overturned the verdict in the state courts and in the appellates, and then when it went to the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision, 5 justices decided the election for president, and they gave it to George W. Bush.
Yep.
Right. So if I lose people for saying this, hey, I'm just a realist. I'm not someone that's actually using my law degree to tell people that they should break the law or get a pass. Now, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, but hey, I'm always going to rock on that side because I'm criminal defense. But you know what? I believe also, and I'm a political science major, I'm also a realist. I call BS when I see it. So I don't see Donald Trump going in prison. I'm sorry. And I think his lawyer's going to do everything to appeal it. They probably will put him on bond while he's awaiting his appeal, and he'll be able to get out and campaign. That's how I see what's going to happen. But that's probably the number one thing. And I mean, everybody commenting on it. Shawn, what do you think? Let me ask you this, because we've been on here for like 49 minutes. I want to know what the people say. So I actually put this in a poll. I asked people, did you think this was going to hurt his election chances? Universally, 100% of the people who are watching here said no. They don't think the conviction is going to hurt Donald Trump's chances in 2024. Cheryl LaPerle, what's up, my darling? How are you doing? How you doing? Does anybody else think we got a little more commentary? We can see in the news what people are thinking. So a lot of the voters are even saying this. They don't think that this is going to affect the election. Let's just play a little bit of this video. So some people are commenting on it. Hold on a second.
We may be seeing a bit of a backlash already. The state Republican Party put out a fundraising email immediately after the verdict, and the main Republican fundraising website reportedly crashed today under the weight of all those donations.
This is
And Steve, Donald Trump can still run for office even as a convicted felon. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's because the Constitution has only 3 requirements to run for president. You have to be at least 35 years old, natural-born citizen, and a resident of the United States for 14 years. In fact, Trump won't even be the first candidate. Back in 1920, the Socialist Party candidate, Eugene Debs, he ran for president from a prison cell. He got nearly 1 million votes. But Trish and Joe, I'm betting that Donald Trump is going to top that.
Absolutely. All right. Steve, thank you so much for your insight. Well, many here in our community are certainly reacting to Trump's criminal conviction today.
Our J1 Jung spoke to several of them, and she joins us live now from the southwest part of the valley in Day 1. What are they?
Fair use.
Hi, Trisha Abel. Well, I'm here at a polling location in the Southwest Valley where currently many early voters are casting their ballot for Nevada's June primary. This, of course, is different from November's general election.
You heard that. There are people that are donating. If you heard that just from that news article, from that news reporting, they are saying that they got online donations to the state's Republicans website out in Nevada. The website crashed because they were donating like over $1 million. They were giving donations to this. I'm sorry, not 1 million, but
Absolutely. All right. Steve, thank you.
Eugene Debs, he ran for president from a prison cell. He got nearly 1 million to run for president. You have to be at least 35 years old, natural-born citizen, and a resident of the United States for 14 years. In fact, Trump won't even be the first candidate. Back in the Constitution has only 3 requirements.
For office, even as
crashed today under the and the main Republican fundraising website reportedly crashed today.
The main Republican website crashed. So yeah, I don't see him lose. I don't see. Yeah, this is actually going to add fuel to the fire.
Just made him that much stronger.
Yeah. It reminds me of that movie. So basically, it reminds me of that movie Dogma when the angels like that were played by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon couldn't be human. They were trying to get back into heaven, and they found a loophole. And you had to go into the Catholic Church. You had to go into Catholic Church, go inside a Catholic Church, cut your wings off to become human, and then die. And you could go up to heaven automatically, and that would reverse everything that God had created. And remember when Jay and Silent Bible, Jay shot off the Ben Affleck's wings, and he did him a favor. And Chris Rock and Selma Hayek berated him. He said, "You just did him a favor, stupid." Yeah, they did him a favor. They did them a favor today. And do y'all think Joe Biden, let me just ask you this. Is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris strong enough, you think, to beat Donald Trump?
No, I don't. Their record is so bad that they can't run on it. I mean, Kamala Harris basically is incompetent as related to being a vice president, and Joe Biden's whole record is so bad that they're not strong enough to take on Donald Trump. I mean, if you had a stronger record, you might have been able to pull something like Bill Clinton did against Bob Dole, or George W. Bush pulled against Al Gore, but Biden's economy is bad.
Bush against Al Gore?
Yeah. I mean, Al Gore's record was not, he was running on Bill Clinton's record, but he just wasn't strong enough. He just took his audience for granted.
Yeah, but Al Gore really won. I think Bush
he won technically, but the whole thing is he
strong candidate.
Yeah, he wasn't that strong of a candidate. He was running on Bill Clinton's coattails. He needed his own platform. He needed his own agenda and his own vision. And that's what we really need right now. We haven't. The thing is, the Blue Party hasn't developed a strong candidate. I mean, Barack Obama was a weak candidate. He knew how to talk, but he had no vision, and didn't know how to bring people together. And he alienated the black voting bloc. So these candidates are really weak, and that's the real problem with the Blue Party is they have some of the weakest candidates on the planet. I mean, and they have the attitude that they can take people for granted. They have this mindset that they don't really have to put in any work, and they take voting blocks for granted. I mean, the way they've blown off black people is just egregious. I mean, Joe Biden basically thinks he can go back and ask black people to come back and talk about this. But the thing is, he threw a middle finger up at black people in 2020 and doesn't think we were forgotten. And we know about that middle finger thrown up at us. So that means a good chunk of black people are staying home in 2024. And basically they think, oh, well, get a conviction against Donald Trump. That'll make black people like us even more. But we don't care about that. Again, no tangibles on the table for us. Really no tangibles for us and for either party. So the best thing for us to do is stay home. But we just have some really crap candidates who basically take their position in politics for granted.
Yeah. And I think what you said earlier, you said Barack Obama, he alienated the black vote,
Yeah,
black community. You're talking about after 2016 when he got out of office, many black people.
he alienated black people as far as 2009. And with the whole Trayvon Martin thing, he started really pissing black people off.
Right.
His coward Eric Holder did nothing to stop George Zimmerman.
Well, yeah, he did that. But I think what really set black people off, I think the turning point for me was when he went to, I believe it was Morehouse College, and he gave that speech about not making your excuses, just, not making any excuses. And I pull up by my bootstraps, something like that. And that's when I saw that happen. But then I also saw this is the same president that's praising LGBT, he was praising, the other communities, let's just put it that way, the rainbow community, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't talking to them. And this ain't a knock against them, but how he talked, just his mannerisms was completely different from how he spoke to black men, how he spoke to black people in general. And I think that was the point that most people had and were disgusted by. To add to what you're saying.
Yeah. Just one of the most condescending people I've ever seen. And I've seen some condescending folks.
Yeah.
Thought he arrived, thought he was better than everybody else, and just talked down to everyone. And that's what really turned everybody off.
Right. Right. Computer Robots. Shout out to Computer Robots. My brother from Canada. My brother from a Canadian mother. Like Joe Biden thinks that he's gonna he's talking to the baby boomer and some of the silent generation blacks. I understand he's talking to 3 new generations that don't take no crap from anyone. Well, I won't go that far because I don't want my channel to be shadow banned even further. But I understand what you're saying, Bookie. So, yeah, that's been the number one thing trending today, Shawn. So I really wanted to talk about this and what people think. I was thinking if it obviously was they deliberated for at least a day and a half when this came out. So if it had gone further, I was thinking like into Friday, then likely I was going to say they probably would have come back not guilty. What do you think? Well, we can't play ifs if a fifth, but if Trump were found not guilty, what do you think would have happened? Do you think we would have gotten out? You think we would have gotten an outcry that we're seeing?
We still would have got it because the whole thing is it would have basically proven that the whole trial was a farce and it was about railroading a guy through the criminal justice system because of a political motivation. And it would have given Donald Trump fuel to the fire to further fire his campaign. And they've already given him fire, but an acquittal would have even given him more fire. And it would have basically put these bootlegs on notice that their time is up with their Blue Party bosses. I mean, that's what would have happened. In the case of an acquittal, basically Trump would have been out here on the campaign trail, and he's going to be on the campaign trail talking about this. And basically, this has energized his base, and it would have energized his base with an acquittal. And either which way, Joe Biden's campaign is basically going to suffer as a result of this, because this has basically energized that base and made them motivated to go out here and go to those polls all across this country to be able to deal with these blue states and their attempts to try to take away everybody's rights, as some people believe.
Yeah. All right. Everyone, I need you to please do me a couple of things. I need you to smash up the likes, hit that share and subscribe button. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We got the copyright disclaimer up for fair use for any clips that were played tonight. Of course, the big thing, Donald Trump convicted on 34 counts of felony fraud, basically falsifying public records. Computer robots, you about to roll out? Computer robots, my man. Shout out to Cheryl the Pearl for her donation tonight. Look, if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's fine. Be respectful. I'm here for open dialogue, but nowhere in this commentary as an attorney, and I guess I got to explain it for the slow people. I am not, no one in this commentary here is defending any type of criminal behavior, nor am I giving you legal advice, even though I'm an attorney. All I'm is giving you my opinion and what I think based off my experiences is happening. And it looks like we got to be safe too, because here's my fear, Shawn. If Trump goes to prison, I feel, and I said this earlier, there could be riots all across this country.
That would turn him into a martyr, and the riots would be off the chain.
A martyr, correct. Turn him to a martyr. Well, our nation we're already ashamed as a nation right now, because what's going on, what you're seeing here, he's already being turned into a martyr. And I think if you put him in jail, it's going to make it even 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Where we're going to see all these minorities. Let's just put it that way. I think we think it's bad now. I think it's going to be worse for people in this country if that were to happen.
Yeah. The racists would come after us.
Seriously, they would come after us. They would come after Hispanics. That would be a problem. It'd be a problem for the rainbow community. It'd be a problem for Muslims. Everybody you can think of. And oddly enough, when Donald Trump was president, and this is just real talk, he didn't target, hold on, I'm being real. He didn't really target black people like talking about it. In terms of his policies, he didn't really target us in a negative way. Yes, his rhetoric was bad, but he didn't do anything specifically. Everybody else was suffering. It's like what Dick Gregory was even saying before he died. It's a game. It's over. Yep. He said it's over. This country finished. Yeah, there's nothing he can do. Yeah, this country. Robert De Niro was talking about saving this nation because if Trump becomes president, we lose our rights. You already lost your rights.
Yep, because they'll come after everybody who they disagree with now.
We've already lost our rights. Look at the Patriot Act that was passed with George W. Bush that subjects us to unreasonable searches and seizures. Look at Agenda 21 by the United Nations. Look at I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here, but there was look at what's happening with the terrorists when Barack Obama was president, and he had a bill that was signed into law where I can't think of the title. Forgive me, but if they declared you as a terrorist, now in this country, innocent until proven guilty, that's the standard. But if it's in case of a national emergency, you're declared as a terrorist, the government could hold you in prison, in jail, for as long as you want, without being seen before a judge. They've done that. So we've already lost our rights. Don't get caught up in this and what I'm talking about, and this is especially for you, ADK, since you want to say I'm a moron. Don't get caught up in this emotional bull crap about what you're seeing on television, whether you like Trump or not. It's not the issue. You got to look at the bigger picture, is the point that I'm making. Yes, I believe in law and order, but there's something else. There's always something else at play, and that's what people are forgetting. So that's what I would like to say. So yeah, man, this has not been a long live stream. We only did 1 hour. Shawn, I didn't ask you, what is your commentary tomorrow? You also run a live stream on YouTube. Shawn has commentary that he does every Friday night. He'll have various guests on. What is your topic going to be on tomorrow, Shawn?
Well, tomorrow's live stream is going to be talking about Vivica Fox and these old women still trying to stay in the social marketplace.
You know, it's interesting. Vivica Fox was the one who attacked Kevin Samuels after he died. And now I saw Vivica Fox make a statement at 60 years old where she's taking applications for a husband and boyfriend right now. You were already married. She was married, let's not forget, back in her 30s. And her husband divorced her. I don't know, I guess because he couldn't tolerate that mouth.
Yep. And she's talking about she's in the marketplace, not understanding that the marketplace has no place for her.
50 Cent was the hottest rapper in the world at one time. He was hollering at her. She couldn't keep him.
And at 59, nobody's been looking for her.
No.
She's in Bust Downtown. And I'm going to be going in depth on that on Friday's show.
Yeah. This all the chickens have come home to roost for her.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm looking right now, just checking out the NBA conference finals. The Western Conference finals are still on. Yeah, Dallas is up in the third quarter almost by over 31 points, 46-77 against Minnesota. Yeah, she insinuated Kevin Samuels was gay. And she said that his death was his karma. And I remember Corey Holcomb went in on her, said, I think your face is karma. Corey Holcomb didn't play because he was telling the truth about these women. Kevin Samuels.
Yep.
He's telling the truth about him. You want all this and that, but what are you bringing to the table to a man?
And they bring nothing.
They bring nothing. By the way, I got to ask you, do you still have Computer Robots asked me to get in touch with this brother? You did a show with Chris Bennett.
Yeah, Chris from Chris and Company.
From Chris and Company. Yeah. All right. I need to reach out to him. You have his, maybe can ask him if you can connect us, or if I could do an email, get his email of some sorts.
I can give you an email in the chat, in the personal message.
Yeah, that's good. Don't do that. All right. That's right. And puss is not everything, although it's the only thing at times. It's not everything. It is just one of many things, you could say. And in some situations, depending on how long you've been without it, it may be the only thing, but it is not, certainly not everything. So we're going to wrap this up, man. I've had a great time with y'all tonight. But yeah, look, you love me for my time, pay me for my time. The Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle is at the bottom. And look, I'm, like I say again, if y'all love what I had to say, like, share. If you don't like what I had to say and you disagree, you can comment. Just be respectful. And look, I'm not here to give legal advice. I'm an attorney with an opinion, and I'm just saying what needs to be said. Yeah, Donald Trump, they are turning this man into a martyr, and you better be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, is my point. So that's it for me. Shawn, I want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you all purchase The Man Crisis on Amazon. Support our brother so he could get a vacation. Shawn hasn't had a vacation. How long has it been, man?
Well, it's been never.
Even since you were a kid, you never went on vacation?
Nope.
Wow. Wow. We got to change that. Come on, man. As long as I've known you for the last 4 years, that's hard to believe, man. You never went on vacation. You never been out of New York?
I mean, I went to go visit my father when he was sick to North Carolina, and I went to his funeral, but that's about it. And I went to Washington for AmeriCorps, but that was it. I just haven't had that kind of money.
Okay. You never saved anything like that?
I
Well,
saved, but the whole thing is you run out. Your work starts and stops. It's never consistent.
you have bills to pay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah, I get you. Well, we're gonna change that. We're gonna get this brother a vacation. I'm gonna buy another book tonight from when I get paid. I'll definitely buy a book from him tonight. Make sure y'all do the same. Shawn James on Amazon. And speaking of books, make sure you go to The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Amazon Kindle. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and purchase that book on Amazon Kindle. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the Facebook page up where you could get the link to that. Get it right on your phone so you can read it, okay? All right. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, guests.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shout out to Cheryl the Pearl. Thank you for your donation. This has been another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays here on Rumble, X, and YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe to the Rumble. I'll see you all in the next one. I'll holla. Peace.